Okay, we're live.
Yes, it'll take just a second to prevent an echo. Just one moment. Okay, that is now prevented. You are good to go, Gil.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody. This is the time that we've set for the first meeting in 2023 of the City of Salem Judicial Compensation Committee. What we have present are the three commissioners. Myself, I'm Gilbert Feibelman, Krishna Naburi, and Brent Southen. I'm going to briefly say a little something about myself, toss it to Krishna, and then to Brent, and then we'll move on to the next part of the meeting. I'm a semi-retired lawyer, practiced for over 45 years. I served for 4 years as a pro tem municipal court judge in Salem in the 80s, which basically means that when the judge wasn't there, I got paid to sit in and do what the judge does. So I'm somewhat familiar with the work and the low pay that the municipal judges get. And with that, I'll toss it to Ms. Namburi and ask her to say a little something about herself.
Thank you, Gilbert. Krishna Namburi. I'm the Deputy City Manager for City of Salem. I'm also the department head for Enterprise Services Department, which consists of HR, IT, fleet facilities, risk, and benefits. And I'm glad to be here.
Okay, Brent?
My name is Brent Southen. I actually work for JCK Restaurants, which is actually Carl's Jr. and a few other restaurant things, and I've been with them for 23 years, and I'm the Director of Operations. I oversee 31 stores from Medford to Bend, Redmond, and Medford area from Woodburn down. So,
okay, well, thank you. The next part of our agenda is public comment, although I'm not sure how that works with this Zoom. Maybe Michelle can give us a hint if there's anything we're doing about public comment at this point.
I don't see any additional people in here that are not part of the committee or staff. So
I agree, Michelle, I can concur. We didn't receive any public comment in written form either.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, good. Well, I guess that concludes the public comment section. So now we need to consent to the calendar, and basically the first thing is approving the agenda. The agenda was already set out. I want to note for the record, whatever record we're keeping, that the agenda said the meeting would start at 6 o'clock, even though the Zoom invitation said 5:30. So I don't know what went out to the public or not, but that should be noted. And maybe it would be appropriate. I don't know if we can do this retroactively, but I would move that we amend the agenda to say the meeting starts at 5:30.
And I'll second that.
Any discussion of? There being no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the motion's carried. The next thing would be discussing any action or discussion items we have. The first thing is the purpose of the commission, and I'll toss that to Michelle to let us know what the purpose of the commission is.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that everybody had the opportunity to review the SRC with regard to the purpose of the commission. I know Krishna did. Gilbert and Brent.
I can say yes, I read everything. I even highlighted a few things.
Okay, perfect.
I read, but I didn't highlight.
Okay, so I think that's all. I just wanted to make sure that you all had an opportunity to read that. If not, I was prepared to share my screen.
Okay. In terms of reviewing the past minutes, I think we only got minutes from 2020. Are there more recent minutes than 2020?
No, sir.
Okay, since the commissioners weren't on the commission in 2020, Michelle, are you aware of any corrections that need to be made to the minutes?
I do not.
Okay, I believe the only minutes I got were February of 2020 and March of 2020. And I would move that we adopt the minutes of February 2020 and March of 2020 as previously submitted to the commissioners. Do we have a second?
A second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? No, the motion has carried. Next matter on our agenda is presentation of information for consideration. Michelle, do we have anything for this meeting that we need to be considering?
We do, and I will just take a minute if you don't mind. Kirsten Madigan is our business partner who did the analytical work on the information that I'm going to share with you. We do have the wages for our pro tem judges and some of our competitors and comparators to present to you tonight, as well as similar information regarding the judge's wage. Those are the two things that we need to consider. You did mention that the minutes were from 2020. This commission meets every 2 years. So those are truly the last minutes. So what we set tonight will carry forward for the next 2 years.
Okay.
If we need another meeting, we certainly can do that as well. So I just didn't want to limit it to tonight. So I'm going to try and share my screen. Maybe. I'm not usually sharing in Zoom, so I'm sorry. Where is my Excel? Oh, right here. Okay. Can everybody see?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can see it.
Okay, perfect. So what you'll see here is the top line is the City of Salem pro tem judges and their hourly rate, and then various other cities and their pro tem judges and the hourly rates that they are paid. The two with asterisks hire in-house pro tem, so they're part-time employees of those jurisdictions. The bottom is the average salary, and the percent is where we are within the market. Our philosophy for compensation here at the city is to be plus or minus 5%. So currently this is within market. One of the things that we consider when we're looking at pro tem rates is the availability of our pro tems. And we have 7 currently on staff, I guess, or temporary, obviously. And so we don't have any difficulty staffing our court with pro tems. So that's what we have to present for you for the pro tems.
Is that the information you were going to be presenting?
For the pro tems, correct.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about that first, or want me to share the information about the judge?
Let's take it just one at a time.
Perfect.
So my question is, my understanding is the current judge was elected unopposed, right?
Correct.
So as far as we know, only one person wanted the job.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But on the other hand, she wanted the job.
She was a pro tem. She had been a pro tem for us.
Right.
Previous too. Yes.
Right. And do you also have people who fill in when the municipal judge isn't there? In other words, you have, like what I did, pro tem volunteers who, not really volunteers, but basically fill in.
Correct. This is that group of people. There are 7, and they get paid an hourly rate currently of $79 an hour. So,
Okay, so you have 7 people who want to be on the list and to fill in when the judge isn't available.
correct,
So there's plenty of interest and availability to do the work.
correct.
Yeah, that's all the questions I have. Any other questions from the other commissioners?
So Michelle, just like quickly, just to kind of go over, I know you kind of said something on this, but and historically we did not have any issues recruiting for pro temps, right?
Correct.
Okay, then I guess that concludes the discussion of that. What's the next information for our consideration?
Okay, I'm gonna see if I change tabs. Do you see a new screen? Okay.
Yes.
So this is our wage analysis of the municipal judge. This is a little bit more difficult to find a true comparator because, of course, every court in every either county or city is just a little bit different. So our comparators are rather narrow. You can see we have an elected judge. Beaverton and Eugene is appointed. Marion County is an employee. Circuit Court is an employee. So those are just some of the little nuanced differences there. You'll see the hourly rates. For the judge, we use a total comp because some have, as you'll see, the next column is a deferred comp, which is a contribution that the city makes on behalf of the judge into a retirement account, as well as a PERS pickup. And that is with PERS, and I'm sorry if I'm over explaining, it's just how my mind works. With PERS, the employer is responsible for 6%. The employee is responsible for 6%. The city of Salem and some of these other cities that are listed in county and state, they do what we call as a pickup. So they pay the entire contribution into PERS. So we calculate that into total compensation. Again, you'll see column F is the total hourly compensation. Based on total compensation, we are below market by 0.48%. Once again, this is within our city philosophy for pay of being plus or minus 5% from our comparators and competitors.
Any questions from the commissioners?
Nope.
Okay, I would just point out to the other commissioners, just so you know, so a justice of the peace is kind of like a municipal judge. It's not. It's not the same as a circuit court judge, which is a typical elected judge. It's a county position, and the state of Oregon, when they pay a circuit court judge, they don't pay circuit court judges by the hour. So basically, they're salaried. But when a pro tem, like when I'm asked to fill in for a circuit court judge because they're at a judicial conference, they have a rate of pay that's based on what the circuit judge's salary would be. And so it's actually pretty low. But circuit judges have a tremendous amount of benefits. So I'm just going to say justice of the peace, from my experience, is not really a good comparison. But the hourly rate for a circuit court judge is certainly a relevant thing, since they actually have a tougher workload. And when I'm pro temping there, I'm doing what a regular judge would be. So I'm just passing that information on.
And I can just remove that really quick and we can look at what it is if we excluded that. So we're just barely within our tolerance there.
Right.
Thank you for that, Gilbert. I think that information is helpful. And Michelle, thank you for doing that.
And before I forget, when we're all done, could you send this Excel workbook to the commissioners? Does everybody know how to use Excel on their computers?
Yep.
Okay. Then just send it to it in Excel format.
Okay, perfect.
We can start creating our digital file for our work here.
Okay.
Great. Okay. And the next bit of information, I'm going to assume, is the next tab.
That we had a request from, sorry, I wasn't going to share that, but we had a request at one point in time from Judge Aiken to include the Oregon tax court as a comparator. We didn't feel, after reviewing what the tax court, what cases they heard or kinds of cases that they heard, we didn't feel that it was a comparator. So that's why I didn't share this screen. So that has, as you see, this highlighted line, this Oregon tax court in there.
Okay. And again, since I'm the only one here who's actually sat as a judge, I would agree. The tax court judge is highly specialized, and circuit court judges actually do drunk drives. And justice of peace barely does, and municipal judges do. So the kind of work that the judge for the city of Salem would be doing, or the pro tem would be doing, is more comparable to the municipal judges or circuit court judge than tax court. So I agree that's not really a good bit of information that would be useful in our job from my personal experience.
Perfect. That's it.
Is there anything else that you wanted to present in today's meeting?
No, that's all of the information that we have. I will say just one other thing, and something that, we look at and take into consideration when we're reviewing the wages between the judge and the pro tems, is that total hourly compensation. So of course, our pro tems are temporary, they're not receiving benefits, and they are paid a little bit higher than the judge. Of course, we didn't in the past want to make the pro tem's rate of pay so significantly higher than our elected. So that was some consideration as to the rate of pay for the pro tems.
Okay.
And I will stop sharing my screen with that.
All right. And we still do not have any members from the public who've signed in, and there's no written comments, so there's no public comment to discuss what we've just discussed. Do the commissioners have anything else they would like to discuss at today's meeting other than picking the next date to meet?
Nope. This is a learning thing for me this time, so I thank you for all your insights.
Okay, so Michelle, what would be the purpose of the next meeting?
The purpose of the next meeting would be to bring forward a recommendation.
And that would be whether or not the pay should change?
Correct. And so
let me just, would that pay change, when would that go into effect?
It would go into effect with the budget cycle. So it would go in starting in July.
July. So whatever decision we need to make, we should be making by the end of, let's say, the beginning of June at the latest, or should it be sooner?
Well, we should make the decision as soon as possible. If we are going to recommend a pay increase for either the pro tems or the judge, now is the time to get it into our budget process.
All right. So within the next 30 days.
Within the next 30 days, you don't have to host another meeting if you think that you could make a decision tonight. We have had judicial review committees that have met only once. That is completely up to you.
Let me ask you a question. I'm new to being on a public body. So are the rules such that we commissioners can't talk about this unless it's in a public meeting, or can we communicate amongst ourselves outside of the public meeting?
Gretchen, do you want to answer that?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Gil, that's an excellent question. The answer is no. You wouldn't be able to work as a quorum outside the meeting. We want your deliberations to be accessible to the public.
Okay. I think, to do justice to the public, my personal feeling would be we'd have one more meeting to publicly discuss what we think. Somebody makes a motion, we vote on it and decide, and that way we can review the PowerPoint. And I mean, if the other commissioners want to deliberate and decide tonight, I'll go with the majority. But my recommendation is we have one more meeting to actually do that part. But what do Krishna and Brent want to do?
I'm fine either way, but Gil, if you feel strongly about having another meeting, and that's fine too. I'm good with either way.
I wouldn't say firmly, that's just my preference, but I can do either. So I guess it's up to you, Brent.
I'd actually prefer to look at it a little bit longer. So like I said, I've learned a little bit from what you said there. So I'd like to study it a little bit longer before I wouldn't have an informed opinion at this point. So give me a little bit of time.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, then it's unanimous. We're going to set another meeting. So today's the 9th. Let's see if we can find a date in March that works for everybody. I'm going to bring up my calendar here. Let's see here. So are Thursday nights preferable? What does March 23rd look like? Or what does March 23rd look like for everybody?
I can do that.
Yep, I'm free.
Michelle? Gretchen said yes. Michelle, can you do it then?
Of course. Yes.
And I don't know if Kirsten needs to be there March 23rd as well. Is it okay with you?
I can be available, yes.
Well, I guess. And let's pick a time. 5:30 worked fine for me.
That's great.
Okay, so let's have the meeting, the minutes reflect that the next meeting will be March 23rd at 5:30 p.m. via Zoom. And that I assume that the city will set it up again. And if you guys want, I'm happy to chair the meeting again. If someone else wants to chair the meeting, they can as well.
Well, thank you for doing that, Gil. We appreciate it.
Okay, so is there anything, I guess we have a motion. Do we have a motion to adjourn? I guess I'll move to adjourn. I move that we adjourn the meeting until 5:30 on March 23rd, 2023. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I guess the meeting is adjourned.